Hey everyone, you're with Tesla Tom. Thanks for joining us on Ludicrous Feed. You are going to learn two things about me today. The first thing is that I take very meticulous records. With me is a folder containing every single electricity bill that I've received since 2006. And the second thing you're going to learn about me is that I love Excel or Google Sheets. Same sort of thing. I know numbers can be boring for some people, so I've created some graphs around what I want to talk about today, which is the price of electricity and how much it's risen since 2006. I've made a couple of graphs for you just to illustrate my point, and obviously I'll put them up here for you so you can follow along. The first graph basically compares how much we are paying in electricity in New South Wales over the last 13 years or so. On the y-axis I've got cents per kilowatt hour, and on the x-axis I've got every year since 2006 up to present day. As you can see, back in 2006, when I first bought a new home, the price of electricity was 10 to 11 cents per kilowatt hour. And by the way, these are in Australian dollars. And present day 2018, you can see it's pretty close to 30 cents per kilowatt hour. A bit of a sharp rise from 2010, 2011 onward, and then it peaked off around 2014 and then dropped a little bit in 2016, and then it's taken a sharp rise again. However, if you were to ignore that sort of period, it would sort of look like a gradual increase anyway from 2010 all the way up to present day, along a nice linear pattern. What happened in 2011? There was something called the carbon tax, or what it was colloquially known as, under the Australian Labor government. So the aim was to try and reduce emissions. It certainly did increase power prices, as you can see, dramatically from 2011. In 2013, that was repealed by the Liberal government under Prime Minister Tony Abbott. And arguably some people said it reduced energy prices, and as you can see in my graph, that certainly is the case. And then in 2016 it started to rise again. So here at 2018 at about 30 cents per kilowatt hour. The next graph I want to show you is percentage change year by year. As you can see in this graph, basically before the carbon tax was repealed in 2014, there was a year-on-year increase in percentage. So in 2006 is the index year. Then 2008 was about 10%. In 2010 was 20%. That's when the carbon tax came in. Sort of 10% the year after that, back to 20% in 2013. And then in 2014 there was no change, and then it was actually in negative territory. It actually dropped in price in 2015 and 2016, thanks to the Liberal government repealing the carbon tax, and then back in the last couple of years it's gone up again. The next graph I want to show you is the cumulative change in electricity tariff year on year from 2006. This is very similar to that first graph for rises in actual price of the electricity. As you can see in 2018, compared to 2006, it's basically about 170% increase since 2006. Now you might think, well, you know, what's that measured against? I mean, it's just, you know, obviously it's going to rise, right, with the way things are with inflation. Well, the next thing I want to show you is a graph I made up which shows electricity price versus inflation. Now this is in percentage change. So as you can see, the index year again being 2006, that blue line is the electricity tariff. As you can see, there has been an increase above that of inflation up to the point where the carbon tax is repealed. So you know, some might argue that the carbon tax artificially inflated the prices of electricity and energy, and in my case it certainly did compared to inflation. Then there was a bit of a correction down there in 2014 to 2016 when it was repealed, and now we see an increase again in the electricity tariff compared to inflation. So, you know, since 2006, which is about how long as I've been working full-time in the workforce, power certainly has overall increased higher relative to inflation. And the last graph I want to show you certainly paints a striking picture. It's basically the last graph, but as a cumulative effect, where inflation has increased steadily over time, where the index year is 2006, where index is 1. And I put index as 1 as well for electricity. As you can see, it certainly has increased cumulatively quicker than inflation has over the last 13 years. And if you're a speculating person, you would say that it's highly likely that prices will increase again into the next decade, I imagine. If you were cynical and skeptical, that line, that blue line, aside from the correction of the carbon tax, you know that's going to rise arguably exponentially in the next decade, where that blue line's going to take off really, and inflation has been keeping steady in the last 13 years. So if you are, sort of deciding whether to invest in solar, battery, energy efficient products, electric cars, all those kind of things to help, with your sustainability in your household, have a look at these figures. Have a look at these graphs that I've created. It does paint a bit of a sorry picture for energy prices, at least here in Australia. Sit down and do your maths, plot out your energy use, speculate a little bit. You may want to think about putting some solar panels on your roof or buying a battery. Just think about those things, because you never know. I think power prices are going to rise over time. It's hard to predict the future, but just based on past experience, it's likely going to be the case coming up in the next decade or so, at least here in New South Wales and in Australia. Well, thank you for watching, everyone. It's a lovely day in here in Sydney, as always. It's a winter's day, but there's still plenty of sunshine outside as we speak. Well, thank you for watching. Hope it's a lovely day where you are, and as always, happy charging. Hey, thanks for watching, and thank you for helping us to bring the electric vehicle revolution to Australia. If you've enjoyed our videos, please take a moment to hit subscribe. We would really appreciate it. If you're close to buying a brand new Tesla, then lucky you. Use one of our promo codes on screen to unlock special goodies from Tesla. Happy charging!